Cheers. What up, Lions? Welcome to the podcast. We have Emily in studio with us today. I'm so excited about our topics that we chose to talk about because they're so relevant in my life right now and in yours, and we have such good, genuine conversations, so I'm excited to just throw down and talk about it. So the first topic is fulfilling your true potential. And I asked you what keeps you up at night, and you said, am I fulfilling my truest, fullest potential? Same. Then we're going to go into the last topic, which is judgment. Judgment, self-judgment, judgment from others. So yeah, let's kick it off with our first topic. Why does that keep you up at night, reaching your fullest potential?
Okay, well, it's...
Wait, introduce yourself.
Oh, shoot. Okay, well, I'm Emily Vidal. I am a communications and fundraising coordinator for a nonprofit called Friends for Mental Health. I met Fiona in journalism school.
Yeah, we studied in J school together.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. It was fun.
And, although we're both not journalists, we learned a lot, and, we got this friendship out of it, so there you go.
I disagree. I actually think that we are journalists, and I actually think that anyone with a little ounce of empathy is a journalist. If you're a curious person, I think of you as a journalist.
Yeah.
Because
I think that if you have journalism qualities, this is my opinion, is that, I've always had journalism qualities, but I don't consider myself a journalist because of that. I went into journalism because I'm a creative person. I love asking questions. I'm a super curious person. I love writing and creating, and those are all aspects of what would make you a journalist, but I don't think that I am a journalist because I have those qualities.
So what defines a journalist to you?
If you're out there as a reporter, covering the stories in the daily news cycle, I think if you're a hard news journalist, that's
really?
My purest definition of a journalist to me.
Interesting. Because I would consider doing these podcasts a form of journalism because we're telling stories and through a creative platform, but still
I would
journalistic.
You're a great storyteller.
Ooh,
and
okay.
Creator. I would say you're a very great content creator and storyteller. That's how I would define it. But if you want to define it that way,
labels,
all means,
whatever,
all means,
man.
It's all, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, why does reaching your fullest potential keep you up at night?
I've always been a perfectionist.
Okay.
At the core of who I am, everything that I do is what could I be doing better, and why aren't you doing it now? So those kind of questions always creep up at night, because those are the questions that you ask yourself, am I doing enough with my life? Am I where I'm at in my life? I'm 24 years old. Is it enough to be working in this nonprofit organization? Is what I'm doing enough? And we talked earlier about how being in a stable relationship, we're both in long-term relationships, those come into play when you're considering, am I doing enough with my life? Because you have to consider other people when you're looking at your life, especially
because your attention is elsewhere. You're giving 80% of your time to that person.
Yeah, and you want to share this life together, and you want to, but at the same time you want to be an individual.
Yeah.
So all those things come into play when you consider am I doing enough? Because you want to be able to consider that person, but also consider yourself.
I know.
And where do you find a balance, right? Can you strive for everything that you want in your life, but also put that person as a priority?
I know. Above yourself.
In some circumstances, because we want to be two individuals in a relationship, not that person be everything. So yeah, those are the kind of questions that I ask myself.
I struggle with that too. I'm frequently torn between wanting to work on my music and then wanting a date night.
Yeah.
And I'll never choose the date night.
Yeah, it's
how bad is that?
Yeah. Because
we always, and I think everyone does, they choose their career, they choose what feeds their soul above relationship. Why?
Well, because that person feeds your soul, but is that enough in itself? My answer is no. If you have the right person, then they will put themselves aside in order to let you shine. And I think that's the best kind of relationship out there.
But then what does that say about that person? That they don't have the same level of ambition as you do? Because what if you're two people in a relationship with insane levels of ambition. I'm thinking Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yeah.
They made it happen. They're like power couple of the freaking century.
I mean, it looks like that on the outside. How like happy are you really? Like, you know, it's hard to judge because you only know how you are and how your couple is working, but it's hard to say like where the balance is. And I think that the right person puts you and what you want above the relationship. And because I would do the same for like my significant other, so I think that they should be able to do that for you too.
I can't say the same.
Okay.
And that's really bad, but I'm aware of it. And it's a constant issue in my relationship where I'm like, well, I want to do this, so like I'm gonna do it.
Right. That's the
not
struggle.
Good. That's the struggle. So
I mean,
like,
I can't say
how
I'm
do I
perfect
cope with
either.
that? Like, we just are really open with each other. So I'll talk to Justin and I'll be like, I have to stay up late tonight to create something, and he'll be like, well, you're never in bed at the same time as me anyways, but it sucks. But I'm like, these are my hours, like 10 to like 1 a.m. That's where I get shit done.
Right.
And I feel bad, but like I love that. And he knows it. So we're on the same page because we always talk about it.
And I think that's what matters. Like, if he's able to know that that's what matters to you and that's where you want to invest your time, then I think that's key. If they're not willing, then I think that's where things go awry.
Yeah.
So
in terms of like reaching your fullest potential, what are some of your biggest dreams that you want to like explore?
Okay. I recently like went to New York just on a fun trip, and I watched a late night show and
with Seth Meyers. Yeah.
And for like those that don't know this, like you can watch like any live show like
Ellen,
for free,
Jimmy Fallon
for free.
Just
you have to sign up like a month in advance.
Yeah.
So like you can watch like late night with like Seth Meyers, like
anyone.
So that's what I went to go see. I just wanted to see like how it was to just like how someone like puts together a show, like what goes on behind the scenes. I've never seen like a live show, and I was just like in love. Like the moment I came into the studio, I was like, this is like I want to be a part of this. And like if I was single and you know if I was just like living in a whole other life, then yeah, like I would totally like just pack up and like move to New York. And
would you actually?
Yeah. And I considered it, and all those things, like you have to consider the other person if you're in a committed relationship and you see yourself with them long term. But there's
though, we're Canadians. We can't just pick up and leave.
I mean, I didn't look up into like all of the
visas and stuff.
I mean, obviously it would take a lot of time.
So much time, and you need like documentation to prove that you're worth the state's time, that you're worth their time.
Right.
Like, who are you? Why are you coming into our country? What are you going to provide for us?
Right.
You need like international coverage of your skill or craft. If you're an artist, it's crazy.
Right.
I've looked into it because I was thinking the same thing.
Well, I was just more of like an idealist, not like a realist in the situation.
Yeah.
I just like the point was like I just fell in love and I was like I want to just do this.
Yeah.
And then you consider like what your dreams and all those things are versus like what the person that you're living your life with and
what
the one that
want.
you love, what they want, what their values are. And so that's the struggle, I think, in terms of like people who are in long-term relationships. Where do you find like a balance between like this is what I want to do and versus like I want to also consider this person in my life who's like I love them. And
what have you done with that idea then? Has it just like gone out?
Yeah, that's it. So like that's what keeps me up. That's what keeps me up at night is like this idea, this flicker of like hope of like this is the dream that I want.
You tell yourself it's not possible because of this significant other.
Yeah.
How can we make that different? Like because what if there's someone watching this being like, yes, girl, I'm struggling with the same thing.
Yeah.
Or like even a guy being like, yes, dude, my freaking girlfriend is keeping me up at night. Yeah. Like
I think that I don't have a solution for that because I guess that's the main thing, the main conflict that's going on. So I'm not sure what the solution is for that, but I would say that
I think it's communication.
Yeah.
Being on the same level as your partner.
Right.
Like knowing what you both want from this relationship.
Yeah.
Apart from that, like
nothing else to do. Yeah.
Because that's what they say it is. It's just like levels and levels of foundational work. And like that's why millennials are getting such a bad rap for holding long-term relationships, because the minute that one thing out of the relationship doesn't work out, it's like, oh, next.
Right.
I'm going to find someone who's more compatible. No. But they don't realize that like it takes fighting, it takes arguing, it takes all of the stress back and forth to get to a point where you're like, okay, now I'm happy. But then you have to realize that this happiness is not going to last very long. You're going to go, it's just like peaks and valleys.
Right.
And then you're probably at a peak, but then you will go down. And it's going to suck being in the relationship. Yeah. But then you'll go back up. And that's what a relationship is. There's no such thing as flat.
No, exactly. And I guess that, like, that's, if you think it's worth it, then you make it work. And I think that communication is key. Like, I agree with that. So I think that if you are willing to tell someone how you really feel and like what really matters to you, and I think that's what really matters, and if they're willing to listen to it and consider your feelings and what you want.
Also, I was just thinking, like, okay, why would you move to New York?
I guess it was just, I'm a very like idealist person. Like, I just go somewhere when I travel and I'm like, I could see myself like living here. And I think like I've lived in Montreal for 4 or 5 years, and like I feel like at this point I'm like I've seen everything that I need to see. But I guess like, you know, another part of me is like, be realistic and like give it another shot.
To live here?
Yeah.
Did you go to Central Park and have that feeling? Because I went to Central Park and I was like, I could live here.
Yeah.
I was just chilling like on the rocks, and like there's miles and miles of Central Park, and I was like, I could live here.
It was actually like in the like hustle and bustle of like Times Square.
Wow.
I was like,
I could
the lights and like everything was just so magical, and I was like, I love it here. I could see myself just being here. But then that's you as an individual, not you as a couple, right? So,
you as a couple?
Yeah.
So because I've had those thoughts too, and what gets me through it, because we went to New York, my boyfriend and we had an argument about that. I was like, I want to live here.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Legit, I was like, I want to live here. He's like, well, I don't. He doesn't like the city. He doesn't like the hustle and bustle. And I was like, well, that's me. So deal with it. But then no, I get back home and I'm like, okay, get your head on straight. Why is it that you want to live in New York? Okay, because you think that life is happening in New York.
Yeah.
Well, what is it that New York isn't providing you that Montreal is like taking from you? Like, well, nothing really. And I listened to a podcast with Gary Vee, always shouting him out on my podcast, who was like, people underestimate the amount of work that they can do in their own town, because you have to take into consideration how many people you know to like build an empire. So I'm like, oh my God, how many episodes of this podcast can I keep doing? Because I know an infinite amount of people. Yeah. If I moved to New York, I'd be me, myself, and I'd have to start from scratch. So I'm kind of like looking at it like from the lens of, okay, this place really is giving you something that New York can't give you. So I'm looking at it like that. But man, I feel you. I could live in New York in a New York minute.
Yeah, and I think that it wasn't just New York. I think it was like just the idea, like
that you can pick up and go whenever you want.
Yeah, that I'm not like stuck in one place. I think this being stuck
in a box
feeling, but like I just got out of a 9-to-5, like I told you. So like that feeling, I guess, was even more overwhelming because I already felt stuck.
So you were working at a 9-to-5 for a year. That's what we were talking about before. And I was like, how did you do it?
I don't know how I did it.
And you said...
It was so not me.
But you said you went to a career coach.
Yeah. So, like, I highly, highly recommend anyone who's, like, even has one sliver of doubt about what they're doing to see a career coach. It's time and money. And, like, you have to be willing to invest that money in yourself. And
how much?
I think, I mean... career coaches, like, I guess I only saw one, so I don't know like how much they usually charge, but this one is as much as a like psychologist.
So like $150 an hour.
Like 120.
120.
But like we went a bit over. We went a bit over, so like it came to about like 140, 150.
But one session to like lead you on the right path?
Yeah.
It's worth it.
It was totally worth it, and I think that it really solidified what I want to do with my life. And I guess that in doing so, it made me like see it wasn't really about New York. It wasn't really about like all of the outside, like what I thought on the outside. It was really about like me not being happy with how I was living my life.
Which was 9-to-5, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
So how are you living it now?
I'm living in a I'm starting my new position tomorrow, but it's a I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's a flexible part-time position that's open to if you want to work at home, you want to come in, it's amazing just because I talked to you about it. It's just I didn't want to live in
flexibility.
I didn't want to live in a box.
Yeah.
This is your life. This is what your life's going to be tomorrow and the next day and the next day. I wanted to figure myself out one day at a time. What do I feel like doing today? I don't feel like having to go somewhere. I want to just figure it out.
And you said also that you're so in touch with your feelings that you knew that this job wasn't good, and that your career coach said you're lucky that it only took you a year to figure this out. Some people will go 10 years and then they'll be like, wow, this is not the job for me.
Yeah, and that's a scary thought, just because people who live their whole lives
and then wake up
after 10 years being I don't want this. And
dead before they die.
Yeah. And the fact was that because I felt things so deeply, even after 1 year, he was able to see oh, you're an artist. That's a characteristic of an artist. And that baffled me. I'm oh, okay, there's characteristics about me that makes me an artist, and this is something that I need to hone in on and be more creative. I had lost all my creative juices for so long, and I'm just so happy to spend time creating music, painting, going out and exploring the world. These are all things that I didn't have time for, didn't want to do.
Because it was about the paycheck.
Yeah.
Because you went to school, put yourself in debt, and then needed to work a job for a year to get a paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was stuck in that bubble of you have to go to work every day 9 to 5, and then I have no energy, no time, no anything to do anything that I actually enjoyed doing. So
soul crushing.
Yeah, I felt literally my soul was crushed for a year, and that was a long time to feel that way. And I'm just so grateful that
you had the balls to take your life back.
Yeah, and not a lot of people do. It's scary. It's scary to figure your shit out. It sounds weird to that it's scary to figure your shit out, but I felt scared to figure it out because I'm
Why?
What can I learn about myself? I don't know. It was a weird thought. Is there something that I don't know about myself that I was just scared.
That you're scared to open the doors to?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It was weird. It was a weird feeling. I was just scared to question what I really wanted, because deep down I think all of us are a little afraid to go for what we really want in life. Isn't that weird though?
Yeah.
We're afraid to hone in on ourselves.
Yeah. You know why? There's a quote from an amazing girl. It's on Akeem's podcast. He read it out, and it wasn't our fears that we're afraid of. It's our actual potential that we're afraid of.
And I felt that. I really did. And that's why I was okay, maybe not. It took me so a lot of self-talk, a lot of self-talk to actually just pick up the phone and be I'm going to do this. I'm going to see a career coach, and I'm going to make that appointment, and I'm going to figure my stuff out. And I just laid it all out there, and it was just so worth it.
Because now you're so much happier.
Yeah.
I think that there's something to be said about breaking out of the boxes that society puts us in.
Yeah.
And how can we fulfill our truest potential in these boxes? That's why I feel like my whole purpose in life is to break open the boxes. But then the more boxes that you break, the more noise you're making. And the more people will look at your broken planks of wood and they'll be like, she has a broken box. I don't want to be stuck in this box. And then they'll judge you for it, for breaking the box.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about everything from even the most open relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I've been talking about a lot, and it's difficult for people to grasp an open relationship. But it's just eliminating the walls that a relationship puts you in.
Right.
That's all I wanted. Just the idea that, oh, if I want to do something, I can.
Mm-hmm.
I have the freedom to. So does Justin. Just the idea of an open relationship has made us feel freer. Something like that. Or not having a full-time job. I don't want a freaking 9 to 5. I want to work when I can, but that means working harder.
Yeah,
that means working harder than a 9 to 5, because you can easily go in, tick a box, and be like, okay, I'm here, I'm going to do my job for the day. You're working for someone else.
Yeah.
What if you worked for yourself? That means that 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. you got to be working to pay those bills. So like all that, breaking the boxes means so much to me, because confinement is killing us. And our standards that we set for ourselves in society pisses me off, because with that comes so much judgment based on rules that other people have created.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me, dude. It's like, you guys created these rules and I don't want to follow them, so you're going to judge me for not following them?
Yeah.
Pisses me off. I'm getting heated.
And that's how, like, I feel that I can relate to you so much on that. Like, because I was so sick of just confining myself to what I was supposed to be doing and, like, what society sees as normal. Like, doing a 9 to 5 is just beyond anything that I can comprehend now that I did. And a lot of people live their whole lives doing 9 to 5s. A lot of people.
But they like it, though.
I don't judge people who like it. I do judge the
people who...
I won't judge, but...
No, but judgment...
I will feel
that's
sorry. I will feel sorry for people who don't reach
complain.
their full potential.
No, it's the people who stay in their job but who complain about it. Oh, I fucking hate my job. No, there's nothing else out there for me. But then they go back the next day. Like, just don't fucking complain, because I will judge you about it. That means that you're not taking your life into your own hands, because you're scared, you're fearful, you're not taking the time to figure your shit out.
Yeah.
Because it's scary.
Yeah, I think... Well, it's hard to say that I wouldn't judge someone for it, because I don't want to be judged for the fact that I'm not doing it. So I wouldn't want to judge someone for the fact that they are. So, but I would say that if you recognize about yourself that you're unhappy doing what you're doing, then I would say that you should try something new. Go out of your comfort zone. Like, that's the biggest, most important thing you can do for yourself, just because, like, the majority of people spend their time, like, in a job, right? And if you don't enjoy your job, you're spending the majority of your time unhappy.
Yeah.
And I can't comprehend that. Like, I spent 1 year in this confinement, okay?
Yeah.
Like, 1 year is a long time.
That's why I don't sign any contracts. I cannot be bound by anything.
But imagine people, like, when my career coach said, like, people who spend 10 years, 20 years, their whole lives being, like, in these situations, unhappy with their lives.
Yeah. And
then don't do anything about it. Like, that's the scary thing. That's sad to me. That's really sad.
It is sad.
Because it's you're not reaching your potential. You're not reaching the fullest of, like, what makes you happy. And, like, we're all here for a purpose. Like, I truly believe that. And if you're not willing to at least discover or put yourself out there and figure out what it is,
but then
that's the saddest thing, I think.
What if people don't know how to get to that point?
That's where career coaches come in. That's where psychologists come in. That's where, like,
okay, so
talk
getting
to
help.
someone, like, get help. Yeah, I so encourage someone to be like, instead of, like, sitting there and, like, doing what I did for a long time, which is, like, just putting question marks on everything. Like, I wrote down, like, things that I enjoyed doing, things that I don't enjoy doing. That's helpful, but it doesn't get you to the point of, like, what this all means.
Yes.
The point of a career coach or a psychologist or whatever, specifically career coach, I can speak to that, is that they put all of that into what, like, they take all of the values and everything that makes you, and, like, puts that into, like, it translates that into what will make you happy. What is the most fulfilling thing for you?
So they'll create little bubbles of ideas.
Exactly. And those are things that you can see on your own, because you don't have the capacity to, like, see. I think we're very limited in our own minds of, like, what are, like, we don't see ourselves truly, and I think
or through the eyes of someone else.
Yeah. Even people who know you like, really well, I think that the people who like that's their job, right? That's their job to, like, figure out, like, who you are and what your potential is.
Yeah.
I think that's
because and I think that what you say about getting help isn't necessarily labeling it as getting help, but it's about connecting with someone else who can see you in a different light.
Yeah.
And for the person sitting at home being like, no, I don't want to go see anyone, then call up your closest person. Call up, like, your family member and be like, can you give me 3 positives and 3 negatives about me? The negatives are going to be hard to hear, but you need to hear them. Like, okay, well, I think that you're a little bit of a hothead. And, like, whenever I tell you stuff, you get upset right away. So I'm really scared to be telling you this. But I think that. And then they're like, oh, okay, so I blow up easily. I think that you're stubborn and you do things, but it's good. Whatever. Like, let them talk to you so that you can get more information about yourself.
Right. And be honest with yourself, too. If you're not willing to, like, go see anyone about this, be honest with yourself enough to be like, this is what I want and what I don't want. Because no one's going to benefit from you not being honest with yourself. Like let's say I was courageous enough to be like, I don't like having a structured 9 to 5.
Yes.
I keep going back to that, but, like, I feel like that's the thing that most people do with their lives. But, like, I don't like structure. I don't like this. I don't like that. And I think that being honest with yourself and, like, having those things out there is, like, the key to, like, figure out your next move.
Yeah.
And you're not going to figure it out all in one day either. Like, I saw him, and it took me, like, a month after that, just, like, thinking about everything he said to me to, like, piece everything together. Like,
imagine you went there and you were like, okay, I really like helping people, but you have no interest in helping people. Then you're wasting his time because he's going to be like, okay, she would like this. He'll come back. Mm-hmm. You're wasting your money. He's going to give you a plan. You're going to be like, I hate this. And then you're not going to know yourself better because you gave the wrong information.
Exactly.
So being honest with yourself is literally accepting the things that you might not even like about yourself. Maybe you're like, crap, like I tried to go volunteer at a place and I hated it.
Yeah.
And I signed up. I was like, I really want to be a volunteer. And they called me. They're like, we're going to put you with a little girl. You have to, like, go be with her every
Big
Friday.
Sister?
Yeah, something like that. Every second Friday for a year. I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah, because
and I felt
committing
bad.
to something for a long time.
But I felt bad because I was like, oh my God, there's families out there, kids out there that need me, but I cannot do it because I will make myself sick doing it.
But it's not a service to do something that you don't want to do because it's not helping them. It's not helping that little kid who could get help from someone who actually wants
to do it.
Exactly. It's not a service to you or them.
But it was a hard wake-up call for me to realize, wow, I don't like helping out the community. You know what I mean? Like so, and then it makes me realize even more about myself. Like, wow, maybe I'm really self-absorbed. Maybe
that's
I really...
okay.
No, it's not, though.
No, it is okay. It's okay. Like, the things that we think are not okay, it's just getting you one step closer to, like, what you really want to do in your life.
Exactly.
And just because society says, oh, it's not okay to be self-absorbed, it's not okay to, like, not want to help people. No, it's fine. That's just how you are. Doesn't mean that you can't be
helping in a different way.
Exactly.
Like,
you're
putting out these
doing this podcast. You're not.
So it's like, use your time that is best suited to who you are.
Yeah. Because your time is so valuable. Like, you're not going to want to do something that you don't like doing.
Like, why would I have done that? Just to tick a box? Like, I volunteered.
And, like, how do you feel about that? Like,
hate.
Exactly.
So, no.
And those are all things, like, putting yourself out there is so important, too. Because, like, had you not gone to do that, like,
I wouldn't have known that about myself.
You don't like doing.
And I think that has to do a lot with why there's so much confidence lacking in a lot of people today. So, like, I do feel like over the last year of doing, like, individual work, I've gained a lot of confidence, but not because I've realized that I love myself, because I've realized that there's a lot that I dislike about myself, but I accept it. So confidence comes from accepting who you are, even if you don't like certain things about you.
Yeah. I think that's the first step anyways.
But I think it's
things and then start liking things.
Yeah, but I think it's a good segue to judgment.
Okay.
Because with confidence comes a lot of judgment, and that's what I'm dealing with right now. Okay. Yeah, so with confidence comes judgment, in my opinion. I really do believe that the more confident and, like, now I feel like I can fully be myself, my energized self. I have a lot of energy. Energy rubs people the wrong way because they're like, where is it coming from? What are her intentions being all loud? Like, I'm just being me.
But that's people who haven't done energy and are not happy with themselves will judge people who are happy. They're like, why did she be happy? Like, because deep down they're not happy, so they are jealous and then judge because of it. But it doesn't mean that anything to do with you. It has totally everything to do with how they feel.
I know, and that's what gives me power. Like, every time someone judges me, which has been a lot lately, but I'm trying to understand, like, okay, let's say that 3 people have judged me in the last week. maybe I'm doing something, you know? Like, you gotta, like, also look at yourself and be like, what am I doing?
What you're doing is putting yourself out there, and the more you do that, the more people have the chance of judging you.
For sure. But, like, then you also have to analyze, like, other things. Like, oh, maybe I'm talking too much. Maybe I should, like, not talk. But then it's like, no, you gotta stay true to yourself.
Follow that thought. Maybe I should not talk.
Maybe I should not talk too much. But then I'm like, why would I dim my light?
No.
So, for instance, I was at the gym, and this girl's like, you have to stop being so peppy. And I'm like, why? For you?
Someone literally came up to me and said you have to be...
we have, like, an okay relationship.
Okay.
Like, we're close. We've been training for, like, the last 2 years, whatever. And I was like, oh, no. And I was, like, jumping around because that's, like, my personality to, like, whatever. Yeah. And she's like, okay, you have to stop being so peppy. And I'm like, no. It was, like, the third person who commented on my energy. And I'm like, no. Why? For you? I'm like, why? So that you can feel better? I'm over it. Like, if I want to feel this way, I'm going to feel this way. And then she took a step back and she was like, no, you're right. You're right. Keep being peppy. I'm sorry. But then I was like, it's you. Why? Now, what is your problem with peppy people? Like, with cheerful and happy? Because I'm not being negative and I'm not judging you. So what is your issue with peppy people? Or, like, someone who says, like, you have
their own issue.
Yes. Or, like, people who are like, you have to stop being gay, or, like, dads to children, or, like, whatever. People who judge, you can't be gay, or, like, whatever. That is their issue.
Right.
Over it.
Anytime you judge someone, it has everything to do with yourself and nothing to do with the other person. Unless you're blatantly, like, racist or, like, sexist or anything that's, like, not okay.
Yes.
Judging someone has everything to do with you and nothing to do with the other person. And so when you receive judgment, you think it has to do with you, but what is that person going through? What is going on in their life? That's what you have to look at.
Because now I'm thinking about the things that I judge for. And I'll judge for, like, people who have gotten plastic surgery. Okay? But then that's something that I'm going through in my life because I'm like, maybe I should get a boob job. Maybe, like, my boobs aren't big enough. And so that's, like, an internal struggle. Right. So every time I see someone with their tits done, I'll be like, okay. Yeah. Why'd you do that?
Right.
Why'd you do that? You're making me feel bad about myself now. And then it's just all internal. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. What do you judge people for?
It's hard to say. Like, I think we judge people on a regular basis for the smallest things.
Like what? Like being happy?
No, like, I'm just walking down the street and I see someone, like, wearing something or, like, doing something, and I judge, and I'm like, why am I judging? Like, I don't know this person. And I catch myself all the time judging. And I think that's a human thing to, like, think of other people, like, why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? But it has everything to do with, like, your own feelings and your own confidence level. And I think that the days that I feel less confident, I judge people more.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
So you wake up and you're not feeling good?
I'm not feeling, like, amazing about myself. I'm, like, getting ready. I'm like, it's an off day today. And then I see someone else happy or anything. It could be on social media. It could be, like, I'm seeing them in person, like, happy and, like, peppy. Like, I guess that's a big reason that the person at the gym,
she was sick. So then
that's probably why. You don't feel good. You're not confident.
Yeah.
Then why are other people, like, why is everyone else confident and I'm not confident? Like, it's, like, something that you maybe want in your own life at that moment that you judge someone else for. There's so many reasons that people
because I'm thinking about who I judged today, and I was judging someone who was driving in the fast lane, and I was, like, on their ass, and I was like, well, get out. Like, there's nobody in front of you. Why are you in the fast lane?
Why do you need to be going fast? Like,
no, but I mean, why are you going in the fast lane? Yeah. Like, just move over. So then as soon as like, they moved over, I looked into their window and I was like, who is driving this car? I needed to see so that I could further judge the person. Was it a woman? Was it an old man?
We all do that. You have to see, like, who the person is behind the car.
Like, I needed to see who was operating this vehicle.
But I think it's totally a human thing to judge. I think it's not a totally human thing to voice that judgment in a negative way to other people. Like, there's no point. I'll catch myself all the time, like, judging people, but I don't act on it because I don't see any value, and that's not going to be any value to that person for you to judge them for, like, just living their life. It has everything to do with you and nothing to do with them.
I think that it's really interesting, though, to, like, see who will judge you out loud. So I'll have, like, and it's always the people who are the closest to you.
Because they say how they truly feel, yeah.
Because they say how they truly feel. So, like, there's this one person who judges me a lot for dancing. And I'm like, why is my dancing bothering you? Like, I'll just be like,
because they don't feel confident enough to dance themselves? Or
I don't know why. But I think that what I gain from it is that bothers people. My dancing bothers people. So I learn more about, like, the world and society and conforming and how, when we're in an area like the gym setting, or let's say, like, in class, there are certain norms or, like, behaviors that you have to abide by.
Fuck the norms.
Fuck the norms, right? That's
dance
it.
In the gym. Dance down the street.
But I
dance
do.
In, like,
I was like,
any place you want.
Yes, and, like, now I'm getting comfortable just singing, walking my dog, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I see people looking at me weird, and I'm like, judge me. Judge me. I like it.
And I think the more that you do step out of your, like, do things that are not
more
the
true
norm.
More true to you. Not do things that are not the norm just for fuck's
sake, but do what matters to you.
Yeah.
If it matters to you to, like, sing, it matters to you to dance, then why not take the opportunity to do it as much as you can?
Exactly. Because it makes me happy.
Because someone down the that you don't even know is going to look at you funny.
When they go home and do crazy stuff that I know nothing about, that I would probably judge.
Yeah.
Man.
There's no point in holding back who you really are just because other people might judge you for it. And, like, what does that serve you? Like, it doesn't serve you to hold back what you really want to be doing.
No. And I think that by doing it, I learn more about myself, but I also learn more about others. Like, okay, this person doesn't like it when people dance. That's interesting. So now I know more about you. I think you can, the more true to yourself that you are, you can learn so much about people and things.
And you learn how social norms are pretty messed up.
Yes. But then the more closed off you are, you lose that opportunity to learn.
I think that's where everything goes badly, when you're just too closed-minded to, like, anything.
What have you been judged for?
I mean, I don't know what people think about me unless they tell me. I guess I'd have to think about that.
But people have not ever told you anything? Like we were talking about how you're judged for, from several people for not having a family at this age. Because you're 25, you're 24, and you're not having kids.
Yeah, I get judged, and I think that's a women thing. So, like, a lot of women experience this. I'm 24 years old. I don't have a kid. I'm not married. Like, I don't have a house. Like,
norms.
These are all the norms that I'm 24-year-old woman that I should, quote unquote, be doing. And yeah, like, I get a lot of judgment for that. And it's not only, like, random people. It's usually the people that are closest to you. Like, when are you going to pop the question to, like, my boyfriend?
I thought you were going to say pop the kid.
Or, yeah, when are you going to pop the kid? Like, when are you going to start living your life? Like, I'm living my life right now according to, like, what matters to me. And
exactly.
I think that...
Like, I'm not going to follow your timeline. That's it.
What's the point of following the norms anyways? Like, if that's not going to make you happy. Like, that's the whole point of everything, is just, like, following what makes you happy.
Your
and
norms.
What your truth is.
Your norms.
Yeah. My norms isn't to have, like, a kid at 24 years old. That's not a reality.
Or even, like, the idea of marriage, but that's another topic. But
it's in itself.
Yeah, but it's crazy what judgment does. But like you were saying, on days where I wake up and I'm not feeling confident, judgment gets to me.
Yeah.
Judgment gets to me a lot, and I'll actually have to close my social media.
Yeah.
Because I'm not feeling good, and that's the place where the judgment transpires the most, man.
It's so dangerous, social media, for that. Just because, like, you compare. The more you feel bad about yourself in that day, the more you compare, like, everyone else is happy and you're just miserable. Like, no, that's not reality. Like, people put what they, like, the best version of themselves on social media. They don't put, like, I'm feeling like shit today on social media. They put, like, wow, I'm, like, doing this crazy thing, or, like, I'm living the best life. Like, but that's not reality. That's not, like, your everyday. There's days where you're going to be down. There's days when you're going to be up. And I think that's the dangerous part of social media, where you only put the up,
the highlights,
and you don't put the down.
Ooh, it makes me, you're not the first person to say this, but you do make me want to highlight the lows. I mean, but I don't know how, how, because if you're feeling low, I'm thinking about a time where I wake up in the morning and I'm not feeling good. Well, that's the last place I want to be.
Speak your truth. I think don't force it if you don't want to, but I think everyone should challenge themselves to be honest. And I think that more honesty is the key in our social media, like, highlighted world. Like, everything is social media. Like, at least if one person starts it, I feel like maybe that'll start a trend, and, like, more people will put what they really feel.
But then, do we really want to see, like, someone waking up with, like, let's say they just got, like, punched in the face. Do we want to open our social media and see bruises all over this person's face? Do we want to see that?
That's not...
That's interesting, though.
I mean, it's not necessarily if you want to see it. I think it's just we need to be more truthful with ourselves.
But like, it's not something you would even want to share with anyone. So why would we want to share that?
Well, there's a limit, I think, maybe. I don't know, there shouldn't be a limit.
It's a hard question. It is.
It's a hard question. I mean, I think we actually turn to social media as, like, a form of escapism.
Exactly.
And so, like, if it becomes, like, everything's negative, then, like, everything's negative. Not only is your life negative, or you feel that it's negative, then you turn on, like, your phone and everything's negative. So I think a balance is key.
Oh, I wish you drew a yin yang.
I know. I just thought of that.
But
music is life, so I'm
music is life. She drew a little music note.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Judgment is hard to stop doing. Like, it's hard to stop judging, and it's hard to receive judgment, but it's such a natural thing to do.
But I think the worst thing is self-judgment.
Ooh, talk about that.
Well, people can judge all you want, but are you going to judge yourself based on other people's judgment? Because that's where problems are, like, they start, right? If you're not willing to accept yourself as you are, then that's the problem. If other people can't accept you, that's their problem. But if you, at the end of the day,
can't accept yourself,
just feed yourself, like, self-judgment, like, that's you can't just live your life judging yourself, right? You gotta accept yourself.
But it's hard. Do you judge yourself?
Everyone does.
What do you judge yourself for?
Looks.
Looks?
Talent.
So you'll go in the mirror and you'll look at yourself, and what will you judge?
Everything, like top to bottom, like
really.
Yeah.
You'll start with, like, your hair.
My hair, it's not blonde enough. I just dyed it, not blonde enough. Didn't put enough makeup on today. Anything. Like, we judge ourselves so harshly as women.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And all those thoughts that we feed ourselves become our reality if we let it. So it's like we gotta force ourselves to, like, talk to ourselves, like, feed positive messages. Because we just so often, like, especially as women, feed ourselves, like, negative thoughts. And those negative thoughts, if we just continue feeding it, it's like that becomes our reality. It's not only that I have, like, a huge butt, like, you think that, but if you think that every day for, like, your whole life, hey, guess what? That's my reality. But it's not. Like, it's not reality. You just told yourself that so much. You just fed yourself the same message every day for, like, years. That becomes reality. So the messages that we feed ourselves, it's so important to, like, hone in on them and, like, change them if they're bad. Like,
but what's crazy is that, like, you were talking about how you look in the mirror and you'll judge yourself for your appearance. I'll look in the mirror and I'll find every beautiful thing that I possibly can. And it's been a while that I've been doing that. But as a result...
Does it change how you feel about yourself?
Yes.
There you go.
So it makes me think that I'm narcissistic.
No. See, that's society's norm.
No,
like,
no.
Whatever.
Well, no, it's my own opinion of myself. I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, oh, I like my muscles, or like, oh, cool, you got your eyelashes done. But, like, it'll never be negative. But now it's been a good streak where it's all positive messaging.
Yeah.
But then I'll be like, oh, is this, am I narcissistic for, like, always, like, you know, lighting my own flame? And then I'll self-judge even though I'm being positive. Or, like, ooh, you're really positive. Is that too much?
That's how society says that if women are too confident, then that makes them narcissistic. No, it's just confidence. It's just loving yourself. You gotta love yourself. Like, it's
So it's
bad
your
that you're
judgment on
saying
each
right
level.
here that you say how much you love yourself and in the mirror, and that's so good. But then that part of your brain that's like
it's telling
the
me
social
that it's
norms,
bad.
like, oh, like
We
as
can't
a
love
woman, you
ourselves.
can't love yourself that much. You're narcissistic.
Because
like,
you need makeup to love yourself. Because you need a certain type of clothing to love yourself. Because society is built upon feeding us products to make us say we aren't good enough without them.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course I do
That
judge
troubles
myself.
me more that you know, you do the effort of like telling yourself that I love this, I love that, and then that part creeps up like I'm too confident. Like,
Yes.
That's like problematic, even as much as I would say like feeding the bad messages, because you're still saying that I'm not good enough the way I am.
And that's the fine line, because like I said, there are certain days where confidence is amazing and someone will literally look at me and be like, you got to tone it down. And I'll be like, no, I don't. And then I'll walk away. Like, let's say confidence is good that day. And then I'll be like, they got stuff going on. And it'll be in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
But then another day they'll be like, you got to tone it down. And maybe I'm not feeling good that day. And I'll be like, wow, fuck, okay. My fucking life sucks. I'll be driving. I'll be like, okay, I'll just...
That becomes like your reality.
Yes. And it's just crazy, man. So what would you do then? Yeah.
What's the key to your confidence? I'd say like the messages that you tell yourself every day is so important. Like
also though, the intention behind why you're doing things. So let's say that you were judged for wearing your makeup a certain way. Okay? Maybe you tried something crazy and you did like the raccoon eyes, okay? You did like super black on the top and black on the bottom.
Yeah.
But you did it for the wrong reasons. You were like, oh, I want to try to impress this person, so I'm going to wear this. But I don't actually like it, but it's just to get their attention, let's just say. And then that person is like, ew, why did you do that to your face? And then you start freaking out.
Broken.
Your confidence is broken because you weren't true to yourself in the first place for wearing that damn raccoon makeup. But let's say that you wore the raccoon makeup and it's your style and you loved it. And you did it for nobody other than yourself. And then you go to that whatever place, and then that person is there. And then they're like, ew. You're like, sorry you don't like it, but I do.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Intention.
So if you're doing it for yourself, then that's fulfilling in itself. But if you're doing it for other people and then they don't accept it, then
you did it for the wrong reasons anyway. So of course you're not going to have a foundation.
Right. Yeah. But how do you build the foundation of
By
confidence?
knowing yourself, by doing the little work, by career coaching. So it's all tied in.
Key. Yeah.
So that's why I think that I'm so confident in my life right now. Because I've done all the work. Yeah. And like I'm talking to amazing people who are giving me their insights. And then I learned from you and I'm like, should I see a career coach? And then you're like, and then in my head I'm like, no, fuck that. Because I don't want to. But at least I know that it's there.
Right.
And maybe in 3 years I'm going to be at a fucking all-time low. And then I'm going to see this podcast again. And I'm going to be like, oh my God, career coaching.
And I think it's so good that you're getting inspired through your work. Like that's a great feeling. And I'm searching in my life right now for inspiration. And so I think if we keep getting inspired
by each other,
by people,
by our talent and our creativity,
that's where we grow. I truly believe that. Yeah.
So what are you going to do now after this podcast with your free day?
Anything I want.
Exactly. Like what? What would you do?
Hang out at the park, read a book, go for a run, like listen to music, play music. Just I'm an open book.
Do you find, because you have a lot of ambition too, right?
Yeah.
What would be like your like epitome of the best dream in the world for you?
I think that living your life with intention and not just sifting through life.
Okay, so you're not like, I want to be a rock star.
No, like I'm just figuring myself out every day, and I think that's the best way to live. Because I think the biggest thing that I've learned over the past year is that I was just living my life like through a kind of a haze, because I wasn't living it with intention.
Yeah.
And I just want to live with intention and do things intentionally and do things that matter and just living the way I want to live.
But also having that ripple effect and affecting other people because you're so happy. You're bringing that happiness and that energy into other people's spaces.
Exactly.
Because you're happy.
Yeah. And I think you're giving back to others by figuring out yourself in the first place. Like, I wasn't being a service to anyone or by not being happy or fulfilled with my life for the past year. But I think that living every day with as a fulfilled person, then that's where it's key to like growth and inspiration, and you just make it like create change that way.
So just back on the career coach for a sec, can you give any information out to people looking for it, or they can just go on career coaching in Google and they can find one?
Go on career coach on Google. I would say that my career coach, if anyone wants to know more information, like reach out to me.
So what's your stuff?
What's my stuff?
Your handles.
I'll give my email. So
cool.
My email is emily.vidal@live.com. If you want to know more information about my career coach.
Vidal, Vidal.
Exactly. And otherwise,
Emily, Emily. There's so many different variations of Emily. So.
Yeah. So Emily, Emily.vidal, Vidal @live.com.
Cool.
So do that, and then like I will give you all my information about my career coach. But honestly, just Google it, and you will be inspired. Hopefully.
I love it. So let's get into some of our last questions on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
For the person who has a dream and they want to give up on that dream, what would you tell them to not give up?
I would say just keep I don't have all the answers because I'm trying to figure it out. But
yes,
I would just say
that's so important to say though.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out like everyone else, but
yes.
what really gets me through is writing. I do a lot of writing about things that I care about and what I value. And sometimes our dreams change. Like, I thought my dream was to be a journalist. That changed. So I would say just keep, the spark alive is the key. Like, don't think that you have one dream and you have to live that dream. That's not true. And if you don't, I thought that if I had to fulfill this one dream, that was my reality. But our dreams change, our values change, what matters to us change all the time. And I think just keeping in tune with what matters to you is the best thing.
And you say you write a lot of stuff down. What types of things do you write down?
Everything, like my thoughts, my values, what matters to me. Like I think it's so important to just like keep in touch with yourself, because like there's so many thoughts in there. If you don't get it out, like it just,
where's it gonna go?
Exactly.
Buried.
Yeah.
Deep down for your kids in 15 years to find out through like I don't know. But don't let it affect people, man.
So many people let their thoughts and dreams and everything stay buried, and I would say like just do as much as you can to stay in touch with yourself and what matters to you. And if your dreams do change, then that's okay too, and be okay with that. Like, just go with the flow and do what makes you happy.
I love that. If you could have any superpower in the world, well, which one would it be and why?
I guess I don't think there's one superpower that I would want. I would want like many.
Well,
I want to like be able to like heal people.
Heal people.
I have so many people in my family that have like had cancer and everything. If I could just like heal that, and then also being able to like read people's minds.
Why?
I love knowing what people are thinking. Like a real pet peeve of mine is like when someone has something on their mind and they don't want to tell you. I'd rather just like get to the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what? They'll tell you like
because I'm an intuitive, right? I'm like empath.
So they just won't say anything.
So I'll know, like I'll genuinely know something's
it.
going on with someone, and like sometimes they don't want to say anything. But if I had a superpower, I'd like want to know what's actually going on.
Would you though? Because that's a lot of weight. Let's say that there was something that had nothing to do with you, and they just like, the worst of the worst.
But then I would know, at least. I'm just so curious about people's minds.
Curiosity.
Yeah, it's curiosity. Curiosity killed
See?
the cat.
You are a journalist.
Yeah.
Okay, last question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the meaning of life? I know, it's a crazy question. I know.
God. Living your purpose.
Living your purpose.
Living your purpose is the meaning of life.
But what if you don't know what your purpose is?
I think everyone has a purpose, and everyone has to, their life's work is figuring out what that purpose is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they can go do you think they can go 89 years and then not know what their purpose is?
Yeah. Some people could go their whole lives not knowing.
Some people could find it at 7 and go their whole lives with their purpose. But ultimately,
I think that's life, is having a purpose.
Having a purpose.
And living that purpose.
And living it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. That's it, guys. Thank you, Em. And we will catch you next week for the next podcast. We killed it. Peace.